around these great documentaries and films and web series. And all produced by the National Black Programming Consortium. So it's a wonderful thing. Let me introduce you, this crowd, to one of the leaders of Nbpc and a staunch Harlemite, the great Kay Shaw. You want to say just a couple of quick words, Kay?
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for your patience. I know this has been an information-filled conference, and your head's about to explode, but we're just going to make it really go over the top with the presentations that you're going to see today. If my filmmakers can come and sit down at the table so you can see their lovely faces. Hello. All of them, please. Hey. Nbpc is a media arts organization that's based here in Harlem. We have been around for 36 years, and we produce content that you see on public television, stories around the Black experience, not only in terms of the U.S. experience, but also globally through a series that is called Afropop. How many people have heard of Afropop? All right. Afropop in the house, all right. So we had an incubator this past year, Nbpc 360. And the whole idea was to help our filmmakers move from just doing one-off documentaries, which is like 1 hour show or 2 hour show, to actually doing serial content. And we were able to select 8 amazing projects, broadcast and web projects. And out of those projects, 4 of them consented to be part of this incubator. I'm going to introduce them shortly, but they were broadcast projects that we also paid to pilot, and there will be some of you will start to see in 2016 and then in 2017. And when they give their presentations, they'll tell you, where they are in terms of the production of their pilot, but also web series, and including a scripted web series. So the content that we produce really is around not only education, information, but it's about social good. It's about issues that we face in our community every day, and in some cases historically. And the projects that were selected, they educate and entertain around these issues. So in addition to doing this, we wanted to expand the reach of these projects. Thank you. Expand the reach by creating games. Because not everybody watch public television. I hope that this is a public television crowd. PBS? Yes? Okay. But for those people who don't watch it, how do we reach them? How do we get these important messages? How do we engage them long after the broadcast, even if they do watch public television? So we decided to do a hackathon, which with the help of Silicon Harlem and several other partners, we hosted at the Raw Space. We kept everything here in Harlem because it's about creating an intersection between art and technology and commerce right here in this community. And so for 2 days, these 4 incredible filmmakers you see here, who really do not have a technology background, stretched their imagination, their talents and skills, and with the help of a few developers, came up with these amazing games that will illustrate and enhance and further the impact and reach of their pilots. So without much further ado, I'm going to start. I'm going to bring up the first person. His name is Sultan Sharrief. His project is called Street Cred, and I'm going to let him explain it to you, and he has 7 minutes to do all of that.
Or less, all right. Hello, everyone. I'm very excited to be here. I'm a filmmaker. I'm originally from Detroit, so I flew out here for the last 3 days of events. It's always fun to be in New York, and you grow up seeing it. So I'm going to talk really fast so I can get through everything in my 7 minutes. I also work with youth. Anybody work with youth in here? Yeah. So if you're used to being in front of 15 and 16-year-olds, you probably are used to doing backflips to keep their attention. So I've learned to sort of increase my pace to stay up with my kids. So I'm just going to jump in here. I think our screen went to sleep. But to give you a little bit of my background, I'm an independent filmmaker. I work in the narrative space. My senior thesis out of college was actually a film based on my life. I'm from Detroit, grew up with 8 siblings, so there were 9 of us in a 3-bedroom house. My parents didn't go to college, but they wanted all of us to be able to go to college. So even though we didn't have a lot of resources, they stressed that we always work hard, we put forth effort, we have high expectations of ourselves, and then you can accomplish anything. And so that was the mentality that I was raised, myself and my siblings, and that's how I got to college eventually at the University of Michigan. So during my senior thesis, I designed a program where we work with inner city youth and engage them in the filmmaking process. So we use the process of filmmaking start to finish to teach professional skills, to teach life skills, to teach communication and conflict resolution. And so I've been running that youth program for 10 years. So every time I make a feature film, we also run the youth program. And then our first film was really successful. It premiered at the Sundance Film Festival. It's called Bilal Stan. It's out on various devices. And so since then, this youth program has been run every time. So we actually developed a reality show out of that youth program, which is called Street Cred. And so the show is based on the program. It's done in the style of The Apprentice or Project Runway. And each week the students get a new producing challenge. They have to produce a TV segment, a radio segment, a photo shoot, and a music video. And it's really focused on building on their strengths. A lot of kids I grew up with, if they weren't good at science, English, math, a lot of times they didn't think that they had the ability to be successful. And so what we really try to do is flush out their inherent skills and teach them that the same street smarts that you're applying in your normal daily life to keep food on the table, do that in a business sense, and you can actually get really far. And so the show, it just shows how to apply their skills. We kind of have a snarky attitude to our program. Kids everything is lame when you're 15 or 16. So we try to engage them authentically, but do it in a way that's fun and where we don't take ourselves too seriously so that they take us seriously. One little simple thing I do that kind of gives an attitude of our program, and if you work with kids, this is a great tool. So I create like a Facebook and an Instagram account that's only friends with the kids in the program. And then while I'm teaching, I actually put it up on the projector. So anytime they're on their phones doing status updates, everybody can see the updates that they're doing and the pictures that they like. So I always call out on them and I'm like, oh, you just like James's photo. He must be your boo. And then it embarrasses them and it keeps them engaged. And so the app that we've developed is also called Street Cred. Movie Moguls, and it shares the same name and tone as the show. We really wanted to focus on something kids will actually use. We didn't want to put time and energy into something that just sits on the site so you can say you made an app. And so our company is a social entrepreneurship company, and we always focus on a triple bottom line, impacting people, impacting the planet or the environment, and then also making profit. And so we wanted to do something that was fun, and we incorporated a lot of popular sort of styles from games like running apps and various things that our students play, but then also TV shows, so like Empire or Love and Hip Hop, which my kids watch, and I think is, well, I won't say anything, maybe somebody works on that show. But we tried to take advantage of the trends and then do it in a way that would be informative and actually educational. We also wanted to really expose young people to the path that a filmmaker navigates. So the game that we created, or we also wanted to, in thinking about the environment, I play games myself a lot just to keep up with my students, and we really wanted to think about the characters that we were creating and the voice. And so on over here you have some characters from Subway Surfers, a game I play, and like they're just very stereotypical representations, and no offense if you work on Subway Surfers, but the one black woman, original character, Frizzy, she's like this attitude-filled woman, then Fresh, who has a fade and a boombox, then Zuri was from their Kenya special, which actually is really cool. But we wanted to do something where you had realistic people who with different looks, different names, interesting. So our characters, Hilario is actually one of my students, Jake and Keisha. 3 minutes left? All right, that went really fast. So I will just go, I'll just jump into how the game works. So there's basically, you're trying to become a movie mogul and get your name on a Hollywood star. So over here in the center, you have to get credit, you have to get money, you have to get gear, and you have to get popularity to like make each film. And then at the end of each level, you get a different prize, and you actually get to make a film. So we're just going to jump into gameplay, and then I'll just talk through that. So we actually made a little animation that shows how the gameplay would work. So this is the main screen that tells you what your missions are, and then what things you have to collect at the bottom. It's set up in like a Google Maps. Tasha is can you turn the volume down, the audio down a little bit? Tasha is our character over there. So she starts off, there are all these places she can go and people that she can visit. So she's gonna go home first. So she goes home, she's around, mom says, you can't just sit around house all day, you need to get a job. Technically I could, but it's not like girl, you better go. So then Tasha now knows she can either go to the fast food restaurant to get a job or she can go to school. So she decides to go to fast food. So at each time you get a different mission, it goes into a different type of gameplay. So her mission is to make some money working at the fast food restaurant. This is an old Nintendo style game, so it's really simple. And she just has to like pass out the drinks to complete the level. So every time the student has to accomplish a different mission, and then they're gonna get, she's gonna make money, which she'll then be able to use to buy her camera gear. So success, she made $200, but she still needs equipment and people to be in her crew, and she still needs to increase her popularity. So with her $200, she's thinking about where she's gonna go, and she goes over she's gonna make her way to the store. So as you do different challenges and you earn money, you can constantly buy things at the store. So she decides to buy some new kicks instead of buying the camera, which is the responsible thing to do, but students don't always make the responsible decisions. So then she goes to the park. She gets actually credit for buying new kicks. So she goes to the park to try to recruit some folks. He's like, hey, nice kicks. She's like, oh, thanks. Would you like to be into being in a movie? He's like, no, but I'll be into those shoes when you give them to me. So and now she's like, what? So then she gets a new mission, and she has to outrun Lenny from the park to keep her shoes. So we did it in like a style of a popular runner game. And so each time again it cuts to these little mini games that she plays as she tries to accomplish the mission. And there are several different times when you cut to that. Success, she outran Lenny and got to keep her shoes, but she still needs to make money because she didn't spend her money already. So then now she's going to go to school because she's going to try to join our school program. She sees the teacher. She's like, would you like to be a producer or a cinematographer? She's like, she decides to try producing. And so there's lots of these types of setups as you go through each level. And then she gives her a challenge. Our equipment truck is stuck in the parking lot. You need to get it out. Tasha's like, I'm on it. So then it cuts to another mini game. And then she's going to, she gets the goal to unblock the cars. It's a popular game, Unblock Cars. It's addictive, so don't download it if you value your time. And so you're probably kind of getting the concept, so I'm just going to jump forward so that I can wrap things up. So every time you complete a level, you move on. Then we actually are going to interface with other apps. So this is Insta Video. Anybody use Insta Video? It's a cool new app that allows you to actually edit video on your phone. So you can download clips. Then you actually just go through and cut the clips, and then you can upload an edited video into Instagram. But you can do it all from your device. And it's a great way for students to connect to different things. So these are some of the levels. After she makes her final film, that's how you beat the level. Then she goes to film school where the final challenge is to make a thesis film. Then she makes it to Hollywood. And so each time there's a different level and the complexity of the challenges increases. This is just about our tone. We're gonna provide statistics like this one here that when she does make different decisions, it actually gives you real world numbers that might influence you if you made those decisions. So we wanna make it informative, but also you can't sort of hit kids over the head. And then there's a lot of ways to interface. You get kind of like Candy Crush, you send lives, you can send money by liking it on Facebook or Instagram, Snapchat. My kids are on all of these constantly. And then once the show begins, so we're making a pilot right now, and once the show begins, they'll actually be able to interface with the contestants on the show. So you might be following certain contestants, and as they do challenges, you can be engaging with them if you've downloaded the app. And then we are wrapping up here. Then there's just lots of ways to expand the game. You can add more levels, do hip-hop moguls, do real estate, do different things that kids might be into. We also work with celebrities on the sets of the movies, so the kids are actually working on real indie films, so there could be a way to engage with celebrities, or even have a video, like we have an interview with Lala Anthony, who worked with our kids this last fall, and so she talks about life and some of the decisions she made, so you could actually cut from the game to the interview clips with Lala. And that pretty much wraps it up. And that is Street Cred. Thank you.
Thank you, Sultan. You will get an opportunity to vote on your favorite game. And so, in addition to the game being fun and easy to understand, we want you to also really think about what is this social impact? Does it serve the audiences it is intended or targeted to serve? And are the outcomes helpful for that audience and impactful? So I'm going to bring up our next, oh, thank you. I'm going to bring up our next presenter, and that's Garland McLaurin. His pilot series and web series and game is called Pops.
Hello, everybody. Thank you. Okay. So there's this myth in our society that most black men are deadbeats, and I found that not to be true. So over the course of this past year, I've been trying to counter that myth, and it started with a web series called Pops, which looks at black fathers raising kids from different socioeconomic levels over the course of a year. But as I was doing my research, I found that there's all these great organizations around the country that are doing great work, but none of their work is in one place that you can find it. So the idea that I had was to mesh a website or a platform where you could find the web series, but that you could also find all of these resources for different parents in local neighborhoods, national neighborhoods around the country. And my app, Pops Plus Life, is the third part of that. And what it is it's a mobile-based scavenger hunt that encourages fathers to get out in their local neighborhoods and explore those environments with their children. Great. So how initially, all people love music, arts, history, and culture. All families can relate to that. So this mobile app integrates that and puts it into the palm of your hand and allows you to explore your neighborhood. You create your profile, your parent name and your child's name. So say for the sake of today, I'm Carmelo Anthony, and I have my little son Keon, and he wants to come to Harlem. So I put in Carmelo's name, Keon's name, their address and password, and it creates a profile for him and Team Anthony. So you choose your mission. And integrated in these 4 missions is arts, history, music, and culture. And we're going to choose Explorer. And what happens is you come to the map, and you get a little bit of a riddle that kind of teases the different portals that you got to go through in your particular neighborhood to collect your artifacts, which are your points. So as you go on your journey, you have a puzzle. And you have to figure this puzzle out in 30 seconds. And if you don't figure it out, you get a second picture to try to figure out. And if you still can't figure out that picture, then all of a sudden the puzzle starts to get formed for you to give you a little bit of an idea of how to solve it. So in this particular case, we used Langston Hughes, but you can use anyone from historic to contemporary society in this. And you know, you can go back in time, forward in time. Once you figure the puzzle out, you'll be prompted to go to a location in that neighborhood using Google and geolocation on your mobile device. And you'll walk with your kids, and you'll go to this particular location. In this instance, it's Langston Hughes' house on East 127th Street. And then you'll be prompted to take a selfie in front of the house. One of the things we thought about is like how people kind of cheat the system. So what we're thinking is with geolocation, making sure that they get within that particular location so that they're not cheating the system, but also that you can take the selfie around specific parts of that area. So in this case, it would be the steps and with the trees in the background. And then you would upload the photo, and that's the first portal, and you get You get your congratulations. Then Langston talks to you. He basically is trying to engage you and prompt you to go to the next area. In this particular case, it'd be the Black Arts Theater in Harlem. And you would get a little discussion fact as a father to discuss with your kid at a later time period that you would want to do that in. In this case, it was Dream Deferred. And then you get your Sankofa. So you've got this portal unlocked. You get this one, and then you got 4 more to get through that particular mission as an explorer. And that is Pops Plus Life. Oh, I encourage you guys to vote and vote for me and support our mission on trying to dispel these myths out here when it comes to black men and how they are in their kids' lives.
The web series is going to launch when? Because you got a little bit of time.
Yeah, well.
You want to say where the web series is going to?
Sorry. So I got funding from Nbpc to develop a pilot, and I'm also a finalist with ITVS Digital Open Call. And I'm working towards developing the pilot hopefully in January. I'm still looking for a couple of fathers, but I've got 2 great fathers. One is going to be on Oprah in January, and the other one's a great guy in Miami who has a hilarious vlog that he does with his child. If you guys ever want to check it out, it's called The New Fatherhood Chronicles. And Shaka Senghor is the other father in Detroit, and he's a fantastic human being.
Thank you. Thank you. Next up is our a good friend from Washington, D.C., trying to preserve and save that culture and keep it moving forward with the new residents that are coming to the city. It's Shellee Haynesworth, and her project is Black Broadway on You. Now, we fought a lot during the incubator about this whole idea that there's a Black Broadway on You when we consider Harlem like the Black Broadway. But, you know, we can have 2 Broadways, can't we? Here you go.
Well, maybe. And that's right. Here you go, Michelle.
Oh.
So before we get started, as Kay mentioned, my name is Shellee Haynesworth, executive producer, creator of the Black Broadway on You project. I am a native Washingtonian, 3rd-generation Washingtonian, woo woo. And as Kay mentioned, with the changing demographic and landscape of not only Harlem but D.C., I felt that people didn't know about the D.C. cultural renaissance that was born at the beginning of the early 20th century along the U Street corridor. So my project is educational, it's historical in nature, it's a cultural and preservation project. And so basically I felt the best way to do that was in the digital space. And so I've already created the website, thanks to funding and support by Nbpc, which is the Living Digital History Book. So through the website, we have stories, we're preserving the cultural landmarks, and so the thrust of this project, this gang rather, is to use the website and apps to tell the story and preserve the history. And this particular game is about a great that many people don't know was actually from DC. Can we turn it up just a little bit? There we go. All right. So how many folks knew that this great was from DC? Okay, not many. Most of you thought he was from Harlem. So the goal of this game, right, everyone's like, of course he is. All right, so before we get started, does anyone have the Erasmus app? No. Okay. So what you got to do to be a part of this game, which is called Dukes DC, just jumping and jiving, you have to download the Erasmus and the Layer app. And so basically you can trigger images from off our website via the Layer app or via this rack card. And I can show you that on the side maybe later. No one has the Erasmus? Okay. Well, I'm going to need you to download the Erasmus and Layer app to play this game, okay? And so basically, you get your clues, from the Erasmus and Layer app so that you can move to each challenge, okay? And so as you, each challenge is timed, and so you go through the challenges. The clues are on the website and our social media sites, and you're triggering the clues from wherever you are. You could be in your shower, in your bed. You take the app, point it to our website, and you launch the clues and the content via the Black Broadway on You website. And in order for you to get to the next clue, you have to submit the correct answer, which will happen once you trigger the information from our website. And then, of course, you continue on to each challenge. And I just told you a little bit about Duke. This is what the journey is. It's about him. And so here's the map where you would click on a point. In this case, the challenge is about finding the locations of Duke's house on the map in the grid. You have to do that by triggering your Layer app, which is a geo component that we're introducing. You do that. It takes you to, pretend this is U Street, okay? And you open it. You launch the content. The movie plays and on your phone. And then this is the first challenge, challenge 2. You need to find out by listening to either the image that comes up, which could be a video. You can choose the video, or you can choose to go to our social media page. In this case, it would be Instagram, to find out the birth of a dandy. Okay? You go to the Instagram. Here's the answer here. And the only way to trigger the answer is through the Layer or Erasmus app to get to the Instagram, and you find the answer on the page there. And once again, this is timed. And you just keep going through the challenges, through the map. In this case, Erasmus, you're triggering the content. And as I mentioned, you could trigger.
He was very
via the
entrepreneurial
website,
as
the
a young
video
kid.
to get the answer
He
to
sold
the
peanuts
previous
at
challenge.
Griffith
And that's how
Stadium.
you get your answers and your
He
clues
had
from our
a sign
content.
painting company in teenage years. So he always knew about work
And so basically, our target audience
He learned that
is
from his father,
Duke
my grandfather
enthusiasts,
James.
historians,
Prior
educators,
to people
newcomers to
recognizing his
DC,
gift as far
tourists,
as music,
and
he
people
was an
who
extremely
are
skilled
interested about
painter.
learning and preserving
And
African
as a
American
matter of
history
fact,
and
he
American
won a
history at
scholarship
large.
to go to the Pratt Institute.
His first composition
And that's
he wrote when
actually
he was 14,
Duke's
as I'm
children
sure
telling
you're
you
aware. It
about
was
the
entitled
early
Soda
years
Found
of his
Rag,
life
and
in
it was a
DC
ragtime
and how he got the name
song. He
Duke.
played 5 or
actually
6
got the
different
name
times
from
with a different
DC.
treatment
He was
on it,
born
and
along
people
the
had no
Greater
idea
U
that
Street
it was
quarter,
the same
lived in
song
that community.
when he was 14.
We basically
which was
molded
quite
him,
fun
Harlem
for
Nights.
him, and he was quite amused
And so
with
as you
himself
go
that
and
he was
grab
able
all
to
of these
successfully
assets
achieve that.
from the
Father
website, from our
despised categorization. He
Instagram
felt that
account, our
everybody
social
was
media
unique in
pages
their
via
own
these
special
apps.
way.
And the
Jazz
beauty is
being
you can be
terminology,
anywhere,
a term
like I
that
said,
he
here in
didn't really
Harlem,
like, and ergo the point of
listening to
why,
Duke while you learn about Duke's
one of
life
the
in
earlier
DC.
bands was spelled J.
Okay, so that's just one of the functions. You can trigger the information from our, so that was another little audio clip. I'll just keep it moving of some of his music that he recorded in DC. So this is Duke's DC, just jumping and jiving. So the goal here is to make it interactive right from the website, but along the way you're collecting your information, you're keeping it in the cloud, and at the end, after you collected and answered all of the challenge questions, your levels will be determined on how much you have learned about Duke's journey and his just jumping and jiving days in DC. So at the end, you're either the best at the top level, you're a hipster. Number 2, you're a swinger. And if you didn't do so great, you're a jive turkey. All right, that's it.
But it's not just,
Show you real quick. The asthma app is very good. It's very cool. So you just point to the card and just imagine you're pointing to our map with one of these apps. And you just double click on it and you watch the video to get the clue. And that's how you answer the challenge and you move to the next challenge. Or if you have the Layer app, you trigger the content from the map, which is on our website.
is that app free?
They're both free. Thank you.
iPad, iPhone and Android?
iPhone and
So,
Should I add that? Which is why I chose that, because by using the apps that are out there, we don't have to worry about configuring it for a specific phone, because it's already done via the app.
and your Black Broadway on You is not just about Duke, it's about a whole other.
That's right. Thank you for pointing that out.
Black Broadway on
Well, no, no, right. Well, actually, let me just bring that up, because the Black Broadway term actually was created by Pearl Bailey, and it was a spin on the real Broadway, because back in the 30s and 40s, they would not hire African Americans. We weren't allowed to perform on Broadway. So Pearl Bailey dubbed U Street Black Broadway. How about that? That's right, okay.
So for everybody who took one of these cards, download the app and visit the site and learn more about Washington, D.C. U Street, and maybe you will start calling it Black Broadway, but if you live in Harlem, you bet not.
The website.
Okay.
Listener, as she said, we're still fighting, but we are the original Black Broadway. And I must add, in this community, greats like Langston Hughes, Zora Neale Hurston, Duke Ellington, they all were, started their careers in this neighborhood and migrated up to Harlem. At the Howard Theater, which was, thank you, Mabel, that's a great point. So the Howard Theater, which is another big part of the story, is the cultural landmarks. Clayton said, wrap it up, which is very important. But the website is Black Broadway on You, the letter U.com. Thank you.
Thank you, Shellee. Here, take your cards. And last, but certainly not least, we have Damon Colquhoun, who is going to present his game called Pixie Dust.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
It's cool. I got it. Yeah, it's coming up now. All right. Hey. My name is Damon Colquhoun, and I'm the writer, director, and producer of Pixie Dust. It's a transmedia, it's a fantasy drama transmedia project, and it's designed to have a social impact while remaining authentic to the mediums we're using. So that's great storytelling in our web series, and that's great game design and gameplay, and storytelling in the game. And that's very important. So the core of the transmedia project is the web series, Pixie Dust. It's a story about a very special 16-year-old girl named Faye and her journey to get her mentally ill and progressively violent mother back on her medication. Throughout this process, Faye discovers that she's got powers, runs in her family. Two distinct powers. One is the ability to see a person's mental disorders personified. And two, she's a fairy. She can manipulate pixie dust. But because this is a modern tale, she finds the old pixie dust. It looks like dry leaves now. So she goes, well, I could use my mother's medication maybe. Grinds it into a fine powder, uses it. Makes her mother take her medication. Now, that's forced medication. That's conflict, but that's drama. Now, that's the, what's really important about that is my team and I, we came up with this term, I think it's ours. It's called dramatic user engagement. And that's what the game is about. It's about really digging in and giving something, the audiences something dramatic to live in. The game, and we do that through a slide puzzle kind of game. So if any of you guys are familiar, of course I think you're all familiar with the old school slide puzzles, but the new ones are very much like, the examples are one called Hitman Go and one called Lara Croft Go, and they're very popular right now. Keep moving. Yeah, there we go.
Oh yeah, this picture. Somebody else threw this in. I didn't put myself in the slide. But this is where we won $50,000 from Nbpc to produce the pilot. And from there, we got a fellowship over at WNET 13, where I'm currently producing the pilot. So I'll take you back for a second. Won't dig too deep into this, but this is something to have in mind as we move forward. Statistically, 1 in every 5 adults has a mental illness at some point in their life. There's another one even more dramatic that I've read, that there are more people with PTSD in inner city neighborhoods than soldiers with PTSD. All right? So, and that's really important because as we get into this game, we're going to dig in, right? Faye, I'll come back to this one. Faye, just like a lot of people, I don't care how much money you have. If you live in New York, your community or your route day to day is just rife with conflict, with mental illness. And so what you do is you navigate. You either find your way, you either find your way around it by, trying to work it out to not have to deal with it, or when you deal with it, you know it takes a toll on you. And that's what Faye has to do. She starts at point A, she has to make it to point B. Let's say she's going to the store for some bread. She gets outside, Faye's on the far right. As soon as Faye moves, this is the logic of the game, of slide puzzle games. As soon as Faye moves, everybody else moves. They move one pace in their route. So as you're playing this game, you can be really smart and avoid everyone. You can dodge everyone and make it there. And it's very difficult, but possible. What's more likely to happen is you're going to run into, you're going to have to cross paths with these various elements. Now, right now, they're fine. If you cross their path now, no problem. But if you cross one when he's going through a moment, he's going to take you into his space, he's going to zap some of your health. I call it your mental health. Right? If you let that go on, if you dodge it, you manage to dodge it, and it builds, it can turn to this. Now remember, Faye, this is her perception. She sees mental disorders personified. This is what she sees. This is what you see as the player. Now you see all the stuff flying out. It's our pixie dust. Because you can use that pixie dust. If you use it at, let's say you use it at this stage, one shot, clear it up, you can go about your way. Use it at this stage, 3, 5 shots, you can clear it up, bring them back to 0, and be okay. However, every time you use your pixie dust, you lose a bit of your mental health. Because we know we all have people in our lives we try to help. And when we do it, it drains our health. And that's what's going on here. So you have to learn to, the player has to learn to navigate this world in the most efficient way possible. So when they're playing this game, the goal is to get them to, and I'm talking millennials and anyone else, because I'll play it, but millennials, to get them to start recognizing what's actually going on day to day and not write it off. Nah, people be bugging. Nah, you act stupid. This is real, and it has a toll on you whether you like it or not. Now, the end goal, after you go through all the levels, is to get, its working title is Pixie Does Home to Mom. So when you get to that final level and you get back to Mom, if you've taken too long, you're going to have to run into something that's going to be very difficult to handle. But the one thing you have on your side is if you manage the entire game while keeping your health and building up that extra mental health, you're going to fare a lot better when you get home to Mom. The one thing, what's important here is it's scalable. The game is scalable. We came up with this clock idea. So people can jump into the game and play it for a short amount of time or a long amount of time, make it far more deep and difficult. Because sometimes you just want to play and go. Sometimes you want to live in that space. You play it on the basic level, you go through 5 boards, 5 stages, or you can increase it. In each stage, when you're at school, you got 3 different levels. After school, 3. Market, 3. So it's scalable. And I think something that's really cool about it is the way to bring your health back, just like in the real world, is to find a friend on the board, a virtual friend moving around the board. You reach them, they'll help bring your health back up. You reach a therapist, they help bring your health back up even more. And you can also reach out to social media and ask a friend for a little bit of kindness, like your friends do you on Facebook. And that'll bring you back even more. So it's a game that's fun to play, just like every other commercial game out there. Doesn't talk down to the player, and has a lot to offer. Thank you.
Real quickly, who's your intended audience?
Yes. Well, millennials, like I said, and business-wise, the first money goes to targeting African-American women. The series is starring all women, a multicultural cast, just happened to work out that way. And yeah, so that's what we're going after. And also, we like to take that to schools and hospitals. We have a partnership with the Association of Black Psychologists, and they're tying in to do engagement and to really get this around and put it to great use.
Thank you, Damon.
So can we get the poll slide up back there? Get the poll slide up. We're going to have you guys start voting, and the food is coming in now, so you're rewarded for hanging out.
Yeah.
But let's thank Kay Shaw, and this is going to be a tough vote, I know, but let's talk Nbpc
Nbpc.
and what they're doing. So here's the instructions. At the very top, you can see. You're going to text the word HACK360 to 22333. The first thing that's going to happen is you're going to get a response. Don't worry about that. The next thing you do is put in one of the letters, A, B, C, or D, based on the project you want to vote for. All right, Black Broadway on you, Pixie does pop, street cred. So you just text the letter associated with that game. So you text HACK360 first to 22333, and it will send you something back, and then you respond to that with one of those letters. You can do that now. You've got 30 minutes while we're eating. You can keep on figuring out how to do it if you don't learn, and we will start to see how this works. All right? Go ahead, Kay.
So
We're already starting to see the numbers come
So
up.
to create a little suspense, can we hide the screen and then call it back up?
Oh my gosh.
When we announce.
I gotta watch this.
When we announce. Yeah, see, this is nerve-wracking.
So you want to take it up? We took it off.
Take it, just take it down, and we will. And then when we are ready to announce the winners of the hackathon, there are 2 winners.
Service for some people.
You'll have to get on the Wi-Fi if you can't get it through cell.
Okay.
Otherwise, get on the Wi-Fi.
Do you know the Wi-Fi?
Me too. We're up. Who you got?
Hold on a second. Hold on a second.
Who's your service?
AT&T. Yeah. Yeah. You just put it back up. Yeah, put it back up.
You're going to find out anyway, so put the slide back up.
So the Wi-Fi password is capital G,
You're gonna watch me cry.
E-T, capital O, N, L, 1, N-E. The number 1. Capital G, lowercase e-t, capital O, lowercase n, L, 1, N-E. So get online.
You should.
That's for the Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Miss Guess.
You gonna put the numbers back up?
Put the slide back up, guys. The full page.
I want to
Thank you.
I want to touch
All right, so we can network now while the food is coming in. We can sort of hang out. You guys can vote as we go. I do want to thank the National Black Programming Consortium. They're a great sponsor of this event, the whole conference. But the fact that they thought enough to have their filmmakers actually do this was something very special. It had never happened in Harlem before.
No, man.
So, no, bring it out now. Let's get it coming now.
But
There you go. There you go.
But,
All right, but
can I make another very quick
go ahead.
announcement? We have a very special
up there.
person in the audience. We would not be here doing this work in Harlem and contributing to public television for 36 years, great programming and training and helping the professional development of like hundreds of filmmakers in our community. Without the creative vision and fortitude of Mabel Haddock, our founder, creator, and now our queen.
very good. That's cool.
And storyteller extraordinaire.
All right.
Yes.
So we want to say thank you guys for all attending the conference. You might want to come up here and meet Kay and the filmmakers, and certainly I would love to meet anyone.
Is Leslie still here?
But I know one thing, I'm grabbing a
Oh, okay, Leslie, come down
appetizer
here.
before any of
Our-
y'all.
Real quickly, our current fearless leader is Leslie Fields Cruz. I didn't know she was still here. We're going to have Leslie say a few words when we announce the winners, okay? Sure. So y'all know that. Can we take this slide down now? I think everybody knows A, B, and C, then D.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Hold on, we gotta get the official one.
Thank you, guys.
Put it right in the front.
You gotta put her in the middle. You up front.
I still gotta work. These are my children. Dream not deferred.
That's right.
I saw you when you came. Yes, you were.
Okay, everybody look at me.
All eyes on me.
That's the official.